Welcome back, Portmasters. SCL Matt here with the next episode of Ask Matt. This is episode 6. Once again, thank you to everybody who sent in questions. Still got plenty of questions coming in, so we're going to keep the show going. For those of you who are interested in leaving a question, if you want to leave a question, simply leave it down in the comments below. As always, one question per person per week. If you ask more than one question, I'm not going to answer any of your questions. So we'll put that out there. Also, please try to get all your questions in by Monday evening so I can record on Tuesday and get this posted on Wednesday. That's the schedule. We're sticking to it. So here we go. First question this week. Do you think they will add PvP as DLC in the near future? Do I think they will? No, I really don't. I don't see that happening. Do I hope they do? Yes. I think it would be a good move for them. That's something that people have been asking for. I think it will sell well. I think it's something that could help the franchise. I have a hard time seeing this as a bad thing. I'm not sure why they took it out of the game in the first place. I'm not sure what's holding them back from putting out some kind of PvP content for Skylanders fans. But yeah, I think only good things could come from it. Could you show us your favorite creations from your Imaginators? Right now, no, I can't show you any right now. Obviously, since they are not physical. But I do have some plans for the future. I am going to be making some more videos that do feature some more Imaginators. Some I've created, some perhaps some others have created, and some that are special in other ways. We'll just leave it at that. But stay tuned. I do have some videos coming up about that. How would you feel about a free-to-play Skylanders console game that comes with one free digital figure which focuses entirely on arena modes and PvP? A lot of questions about PvP. All right. So yeah, I think that would be a great idea. Once again, if it's free-to-play, that would be an interesting concept. That comes with one free digital figure. It kind of goes against their model, but at the same time, like you said, if the game is free to play and then you have to pay for the characters, that's something that might actually work. People might feel better about that if they don't have to pay for the game. They'd be more willing to pay for the figures, maybe. But at the same time, you start running into problems of, do you still need a portal then? Then do you start selling the portal separately if the game is free to play? Or do you bundle that in somehow? Like you buy this package that has the portal and a code for the game? Or the logistics of that are a little wonky, and it's something that I think is probably holding them back from other traditional methods that we've seen. Like I mentioned League of Legends a couple times. I'm not a huge League of Legends player by any means, but I know what the game is about. So they kind of use that style where the game itself is free to play, and they make all their money from people buying extra upgrades and extra characters and all these other little things on the side. And that's how they work, but they're completely digital. So they don't have to worry about a portal, they don't have to worry about figures, they don't have to worry about all this other stuff that Skylanders would have to if they wanted to keep themselves in the Toys to Life industry. Now, could Skylanders turn over into a digital game, a digital format completely, and just have digital figures? Maybe. I think they would lose a lot of their fans, because a lot of people come for the figures. They want to collect the figures. They just don't just want a digital collection. They want the physical figures. So I think it'd be hard to swing in the Activision camp. I think they wouldn't necessarily go for it because it strays from the model that they've drawn up. But bringing pieces of that into it, like I said, bringing in a game based on arena modes or PvP or whatever the case may be, I think, I've been a proponent of that since last year. Especially, I said if that's what the next game was, or if they brought out a secondary game alongside of it, or release it in, so they release the main Skylanders game, it just make it a standard Skylanders game, back to like Spyro's Adventure style almost, and give us that Skylanders game in October, and then say in March or something, release the standalone PvP game. So it's like, hey, you've got all these great characters. We're giving you a couple more here in Wave 3, 4, whatever it is at the time, and here's a PvP game to play around with them. Like I think that'd be amazing. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. But I don't know if we'll ever see that. I kind of hope we do now. The more I talk about it, the more I want it. So we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But right now, I think it's a good idea, but I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon. When will the winners of the creator contest be chosen? So in the official rules, it actually said, for those of you who don't know, this is the Skylanders creator contest. We're currently in the final week of the creator contest. This is week 5. But in the official rules, it said that all winners will be contacted within 30 days of the end of the contest. But I can tell you, I know at least the week 1 winners have been contacted already. We do have someone from our community who actually won in week 1, and they were contacted roughly 2 weeks after week 1 ended. So it was like during week 3 or something like that. So it does seem like that they're kind of working their way along week by week and contacting winners. But like I said, the official rules did state that within 30 days of the end of the entire contest. So at the end of this week, when week 5 ends, within 30 days, for sure, they have to contact people. But as I said, they have started contacting winners. So if you didn't hear anything about week 1 or probably week 2 at this point, there's a good chance you didn't win those. I'm guessing week 3 and definitely week 4 are still up for grabs, since that just ended. But you still have a little time to enter week 5 as well. A recent Reddit post from a GameStop employee stated that the interactive gaming figures will no longer be accepted as trade-ins. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this. In particular, if they stop accepting them as trade-ins, yeah, will they stop selling them too? And yeah, I did read this. I have heard rumblings about this, and it doesn't surprise me at all. GameStop has been flooded with these figures, and that's why we always see these buy 2 get 3 free sales and that type of thing. And it's, as the industry is kind of in decline and Disney Infinity is gone and that type of thing, I can definitely see GameStop wanting to get out of it soon. So I do believe that's true, that they will no longer be accepting trade-ins. I don't remember what the date was, but eventually they're going to stop accepting trade-ins. I do think they will continue to sell them for a while. They're definitely going to try to sell off as much of the product that they bought as they can. And if they're still buying them up to a certain date, the ones they buy on that last date, they're still going to want to sell those to get their money back. So they definitely will keep selling them, at least for a little while. I can't say how long. It will partly depend on how quickly they sell and if they're selling at all, that type of thing. But yeah, eventually I have a feeling that they will stop selling them too. So it's only a matter of time, really, until the used market stops at GameStop. You'll always still have eBay and the like. Someone else might pick up the used game. Target actually sells used figures. Their prices are a little weird sometimes. I don't know how they determine them, and they don't have the huge selection that GameStop does. But there are other places out there that are selling used figures. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of hunting, but you can find some good deals out there too. Do you or have you played any version of Gauntlet or Diablo? I'm fairly certain that's where my love of Skylanders games stems from. I haven't played a lot of either game. I have played a little bit of Gauntlet and a little bit of Diablo. so I understand where the comparisons come from. I understand fully that people have called Skylanders Diablo Light for years now. Basically, ever since it came out, that's the style that it is. It's kind of that. I don't know if you want to call it a dungeon crawler or whatever type you want to call it. It is where a lot of people, why a lot of people enjoy Skylanders is because of those similarities, but it is a little more lighthearted, and you don't have to necessarily have to try so hard. You're not going to die as many times, that type of thing. So it's very similar in those respects, and that's part of why it works. It was a proven gaming method, and people were familiar with it, and so it made a lot of sense to just kind of continue with that, and it was an introduction to games for a lot of people, for a lot of kids. And so when they see it started with that, maybe like Diablo or something, or Gauntlet is something that they'll graduate to eventually. But yeah, I haven't played a lot of either of those games, but yeah, I would agree that they are similar, and has attracted a lot of people to Skylanders because of that. Just got to the dragon level, and I'm having trouble flying with dragon wings. Any pointers? So yeah, the dragon wings, I was kind of disappointed with them. I was kind of excited when we got these wings and we're going to be able to fly and all over the place, but to be honest, yeah, the controls are really stiff. It's not just you. That's the way it's built. Each time you grab a set of wings, there's only a certain distance you can fly. There's only certain directions you can fly. You can't fly anywhere you want. You might have a choice of like one or two places that you can float over to, but for the most part, it's gonna say, all right, we're gonna launch up here, and you're gonna end up over there, and that's what it is. It's a weird method of travel. When I feel like they could have just used another grind rail or just I don't know, a slide or a teleport of some sort to get you there faster. It's more thematic than anything. But yeah, the dragon wings, like I said, there are only certain places you can go with them. And if you see a different place that you can't get to with one particular set of wings, you're probably looking for, you need to use a different set of wings to get there, or possibly a cannon or something like that too. Especially in that dragon level, I know hitting all the islands when you're coming down from the dragon temple is kind of a tricky task. It's not simple. You have to take them in a particular order, and there, like I said, since there's only certain places you can go with each set of wings, you have to do it in the right order. And I think it could have been improved. It would have been nice to be able to fly anywhere you want, even if you only had a limited amount of flight time per set of wings. But yeah, I was a little disappointed with that. It's not just you. The controls are stiff, and it's very limited. So I think you just have to get used to it and figure out where each set of wings is supposed to go, and go from there. Next up, we have, how do you feel about the Skylander Boy and Girl only making a few videos this year and still getting everything for free? So I can't say too much bad about it, because Skylanders Boy and Girl have put so much into the Skylanders franchise over the past couple of years that they deserve probably more than they are getting even. To be honest, the free product that they're getting, while it seems huge to a lot of people, it's only worth a couple $100. It's like maybe $300 worth of product that they're getting, and Activision is getting a ton of advertising for the game by just sending them a couple of free toys. So in Activision's mind, it's very much worth their while. I did check out their channel, and they've actually put out maybe not as many videos as in past years, but they still put out a good amount of content that's all Skylanders related. So I can't say they haven't been doing their job or anything like that. They still put out a good amount of content related to Skylanders. It's just not the same content I'm putting out. Like, so they don't put out tons of gameplay necessarily. They like to have fun and do other things with it, and that's where they get a lot of their fans. And to be honest, here's another way to look at it. They have multiple channels, and they have millions of viewers across those channels. And so they have kind of grown beyond Skylanders. They've grown into a bigger multimedia platform, and it's almost like Activision will send free stuff to IGN or to all the other gaming sites so they can review it. And what do? They get all the free product, they write one review, and then they're done. They don't keep producing more content. So Activision is already getting more out of the Skylanders Boy and Girl than they are from like IGN or anything like that. They have such a huge fan base, and it's all Skylanders related, that it is very much worth their while for even just a few videos. I mean, they have millions of viewers. I just hit 1,000 subscribers this year. It's even though I put out more content, doesn't mean I'm getting more people to see it. Doesn't mean I'm getting more people into the game. It's honestly not as much, not worth as much to Activision for me to make one video. Like they have more subscribers than I have views on my channel. So it's like that's just the way it is. The numbers say it's very much worth it for Activision to do it that way. And even if they just put out one video, like I said, like a lot of the big news sites do, that's Activision thinks it's worth it because they have such a huge fan base. So I can't blame them for it. I think they're still doing just fine. It doesn't bother me that they still get stuff for free. They put in their time. They've earned it. I'm quite all right with it. The videos that they put out take hours and hours and hours to make. They put in their time. They definitely do. What is your favorite Skylanders game and why? Well, I've answered this a couple of times before. I am going to direct you, I believe, to episode 2 of Ask Matt. Episode 2, I believe I went more in depth about that. Short answer, for a long time it was Spyro's Adventure. It looks like Skylanders Imaginators, though, is probably gonna pass it up. So, something to keep in mind there if you haven't tried out Skylanders Imaginators yet. Who would be your favorite Skylander of the year? Right now we're probably looking at Starcast. He has been my go-to figure. I'm liking him a lot this year. So right now it's Starcast. There are some other figures I'm still working on leveling up and figuring out all the powers and best way to use them and that type of thing. So there's a chance someone else could still edge him out, but after, what is this? We've been out for about a month now. Yeah, I would have to say Starcast is my number one right now. What villain, similar to the villain Senseis, would you like to see playable in the future? Well, to be honest, I got my number one want with Hoodsickle. So I got the main guy I wanted. I have said in the past I would like to see like a Chompy. I don't think it's gonna happen. He seems too much of a minor character. It's like the Chompies are always like the first villain you come across in level 1. It's like, this is a villain, this is how you fight. We're not gonna make him too powerful. so you don't die in the first level right away. But I would like to see a Chompy. I would like a Chompy figure. But probably better yet is the one that a lot of people feel got snubbed in this game, Chef Pepperjack. I do think he would make a great figure. And I do think he'd have plenty of powers that they could play with. So Chef Pepperjack, yeah. I'd like to see Chef Pepperjack in a future game with villains. What is your favorite Skylanders SuperChargers racing track? I think for the racing, I tend to enjoy racing on land the most. So we'll start there. And honestly, I think it was one of the first two tracks. Shoot, I'm gonna forget their names now. I'd probably go with Chompy Garden. I know it almost seems like a cop-out answer, but Chompy Garden was a good level. I like racing on land the most, and it gave you the most different kind of terrains, and it felt very complete. So Chompy Garden was good. I mean, all of them were good, I think. They are well-designed tracks. If you haven't tried it out, go ahead and try it out. But yeah, Chompy Garden is probably one I go back to the most. I don't do a lot of racing, but if I do, I'm probably most apt to jump into Chompy Garden or Dragon Spine. But Chompy Garden is probably going to be at the top of the list. What is your favorite element? This is one that is slowly changing as well. So normally I tell people that my favorite element is the undead. For whatever reason, I've always kind of gravitated towards the undead characters. And so that became my favorite element. But the more I'm seeing of the dark elements, I'm actually starting to like a lot of those characters. It's a small sample size right now. We've only had it for 3 years, and we only have like, what is it, 5 or 6 characters, something like that, somewhere in that range. But I'm liking what I see so far. So, Dark Element is rapidly moving up the list. What Skylanders would you like to see in Season 2 of Skylanders Academy? I don't know if they want to expand the roster too much right now. I like where they've been going with things. They got storylines they can tell. They got characters that have been on this show but haven't had a big part that they could expand their roles. But I think they should probably stick with a lot of the original Skylanders that we saw in Spyro's Adventure. I think those are going to be the characters that they can get the most backstory from, the characters that they can kind of develop the most, that people have attached themselves to, and that sort of thing. And it'll be a good way to keep those characters alive, even if they're not directly involved in the newest Skylanders game. So maybe someone like Flameslinger, or who else we got? Zap. I think Zap could be a very fun character. It would be interesting to see him kind of growing up and going through some growing pains with other Skylanders, and learning to work with them. So yeah, I think some of those like Flameslinger or Zap might be interesting characters to see in a future season. What Skylanders game do you like? I've answered this one too. I think, let's see, I think you have to go back to, yeah, we actually just had this here earlier in this episode. I'm going to refer you back to episode 2 of Ask Matt, where I talk about my favorite Skylanders game. Once again, short answer, Spyro's Adventure has been long my favorite, but it seems like Skylanders Imaginators is going to start to edge it out this year. What do you think will be the theme of the next game? How can they top this? Also, another question I have answered in the past, so I'm not going to go into it too much here. I will refer you to episode 3 of Ask Matt, where I do talk about my thoughts for future games in Skylanders 7 and all that type of thing. I think I go into pretty good detail back there, so I'm not going to go over it all again right now. But check out episode 3 and you should have your answer. Which Element Sensei figure base is your favorite? That's a good question. They did once again change up the bases of the figures this year, and a lot of people thought they're going to be too bland, but I like what they've done with them. They really, even though they're all the same, they're all similar, they still manage to represent their element very well, I think. And so, well, I would normally like gravitate towards the life element because it's green, which I still do. That always stands out to me, and they have a nice that nice leafy pattern. I think perhaps the one that works the most for me and just kind of, I don't know what it is exactly, but it stands out a little bit above the rest is probably the tech base. I like the tech base. In the past, they've always had the giant pile of gears, but this year we have all the gears along the side, and just, I don't know, it looks nice, and it's very fitting. So I do enjoy that one. In close second, I would probably put the Earth base too. Something about just, it's all very simple stuff that they've done to make these bases, but those are the ones that stand out to me, I guess. So I guess that's my answer there. Either the tech or the Earth base is probably my favorite. What is your favorite and least favorite Sensei Sky-Chi power? I can't answer that for you right now, honestly. I haven't even tried them all out yet. I have so many figures to get through. I've been playing the game a lot, but for my first time through, I didn't have all the Sky-Chi powers unlocked necessarily, and now it's all about going back to those characters and trying it out now that I do have it unlocked, and I just haven't, I don't have enough experience with all the powers to give you a decent answer to that. I really wish I had a better answer. I guess one that does jump out at me, jump out, is Chompy Mage. I do appreciate that one, where he basically takes his staff and turns it into like a pogo stick, and he's just bouncing around the screen with it. And yeah, that one's kind of cool. I mean, they're all pretty good, mostly because they're powerful, but yeah, that's the one that I came to mind right away, I guess. Who is your favorite Tech Sensei? Tech Sensei. So we have, let's see, right now, actually, you know what? I have my computer here. I'm going to look this up right away. Just to make sure I don't forget anybody. So we have Chain Reaction, Dr. Crankcase, Dr. Neocortex, and Robo. So we actually have 2 of these released right now. So between Dr. Crankcase and Dr. Cortex, I probably enjoy Cortex more right now. He's just a little more unique, something we haven't seen as much before. But I will admit I haven't used Dr. Crankcase as much, so I haven't upgraded all his powers and that type of thing. But with that being said, I am looking forward very much to both Chain Reaction and Robo. Robo, I think, could easily become one of my favorite characters. I am a fan of bow slingers, and he just has an awesome design. So I think going forward, my answer could definitely change. But right now, if I had to pick one, especially one that I've played, I would go with Cortex. What would you think if Activision released a separate game from the story that was an online PvP game? Wow, our third PvP question this week. You guys really want to know about this PvP. And that's exactly what I'm saying though too, is that so many people keep asking about PvP. Where is PvP? When's it coming back? Why'd they take it out? Like, I really do think it would be a good idea. And I don't think Activision has a good reason for not including it or not putting it in or not making a separate game. And like plenty of people have said, make it a separate game. People would buy it. On top of this game here, this Skylanders game that we know and love, we would buy a secondary game. We would buy a game on the side. And I don't know what's holding them back. Maybe, for all we know, maybe they do have something in production. Maybe they have been working on it and they just want to get it perfected. And I can't tell you what is going on in their minds. I really don't know. But yeah, I think you guys are showing us right here. PvP is something that people want. PvP is something that could work very well. We have a large cast of characters, and I think it's something that could carry the franchise further. So I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I would like to see it. I know you guys would like to see it if they did it right. And we, I mean, just look at Super Smash Brothers. How long that's been going on. It's been going on for years and years and years. There's a huge following. That they don't even have nearly as many characters as Skylanders does. And maybe that's part of the problem, is they'd have to program in all those hundreds of characters, hundreds of Skylanders that they've created, unless they limited it. And I'm sure some people wouldn't like that either. But I don't know. I don't know what's holding them back. Hopefully someday we get something. But that's all we have for this week. That is all the questions. If you have a question, like I said, leave it down in the comments below of this video, and we will try to answer your question next week. One question per person per week. If you ask more than one question, I won't answer any of your questions. Sorry about it. That's how it works. As you can see, I already have so many questions to go through. So we don't want to make these videos any longer than they already are, because I know a lot of you don't have the time you can dedicate to listening to all of this. So thank you for watching. That's all I have for now. I'll see you next week.